What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a post-fight video. Denis Lebedev versus James Toney. Bout took place in Russia today, November the 4th. Bout was, I believe, for the WBA interim cruiserweight championship. Both fighters, were not the champion for the WBA, of course. So anyway, James Toney versus Denis Lebedev. All I could say was it was a one-sided fight for Denis Lebedev. Denis Lebedev actually fought a smart fight. He didn't get into a shootout with James Toney. He didn't stand there with James Toney. He didn't create many openings for James Toney. He stood straight up. He jabbed, he jabbed on the outside. When he came in, he threw left hooks and combinations and come back outside and back to fighting simple, throwing the jab. And it happened throughout the whole entire fight. And I think what happened was, it was obvious in about the first round that James Toney's timing was off. His timing was off and his balance was somewhat off, and you kind of tell in the first round. So what happened in that first round was Denis Lebedev being the younger fighter, being that he's at a weight which is home for him, because Toney hasn't been at cruiserweight in about 8 years. Denis Lebedev was able to find his rhythm in that first round, and he was able to maintain that momentum. That rhythm, and gain more momentum as the fight progressed. Because what he did was he found that perfect rhythm to fight at. The same variation of punches, the same two variation of shots throughout the entire fight. Standing straight up, jabbing his way in, throwing either left hook combinations or just straight up combination with both hands. That's pretty much that rhythm he found, and James Toney kind of gave him that rhythm. Because what ends up happening was, since his timing was off, he couldn't counter him all too much with the counter right hand. He couldn't counter his left with his right hand. And that's because what was happening was, when he threw his left hook, his left hand was right back to protect his face. Or when he was jabbing, when he was standing straight up and jabbing and trying to hit him with a straight left, he would move to Toney's left side. He would move to Toney's left side. And also he would actually jab to right when he would move to his left side. So pretty much Denis Lebedev fought a smart fight, but also he gained a level of momentum that just never regressed throughout the fight. Pretty much I could say that pretty much got the fight for Lebedev was, first off, he had it was the rhythm that he was able to maintain, and also he fought very smart against Toney. He didn't get into a dogfight with him. He didn't stand straight up with him and give Toney the openings that he wanted to create. So Lebedev just made it his fight. He stood straight up. He didn't do too much. Didn't do too much unnecessary stuff. He did what was simple and what could just win him the fight. And was standing tall, straight jabs and left hands. That's pretty much what it was. And he started to come over the top of James Toney's left hand. He started to come over the top of it. He's starting to kind of walk him down, and Toney's trying to use the ring, but he's stalking him. He's right in Toney's face just about everywhere he goes in the ring. He's in James Toney's face, throwing the jab, coming in and throwing the left hook, getting back outside and just doing the same thing. So pretty much he fought a fight to where he was able to maintain his rhythm but also take away James Toney's assets, which is the sneaky right hand, the left to the body. I don't know why he probably wasn't throwing that left to the body, because as he's throwing the left to the body, he would probably gotten hit with a Lebedev jab, because how straight he throws his jab, and also his timing was off. His timing and his balance was off. So pretty much Lebedev won the fight because first off, I think that he is better than we did give him credit for, especially if you see my prediction, he's better than I actually gave him credit for. And I will straight up admit that right now. He's better than I gave him credit for. and also James Toney's timing was just way off. So just overall, like I, I knew that Lebedev was smart in not going for the knockout. So I think the best route for him to go was to fight the simple fight that he did. So, and James Toney pretty much needed a knockout, possibly in this fight. But he didn't really go for it. He was, saying that he was going to go for the knockout, and he didn't get the knockout. It seemed as if he wasn't really attempting it. It was like after like round 3 or 4, he's in survival mode, and when in survival mode, he's not really. From time to time, he's throwing back. Sometimes he's in round 5. He was actually kind of taking the lead, but then Lebedev just took it away from him. He just took it away from him and started throwing more punches. Every single James Toney shot, he's getting 2-3 punch combinations. He'll come in 3-punch combination, come back out another 3-punch combination. So it is what it is. That's the fight we got. Personally, I think that at this point, James Toney does need to retire. Maybe give a farewell fight and then retire, because now I think this was probably his last fight against top level opposition, unless they find the guy that needs some type of stepping stone that might use James Toney. And to avoid more fights like these from people who are fans of James Toney, people that have seen him fight fighters such as Prince Charles Williams, Murky Sosa, Michael Second to None, Roy Jones, Montel Griffith, the trilogy with Mike McCallum, Holyfield fight, all these fights, man. What's his name? Jackson. All these, Reggie Johnson, excuse me. All these fights, man. A lot of, I think that pretty much a lot of people who are fans of James Toney don't want to see fights like these from him anymore. I think it's, he didn't look too sharp, and his timing was off, his balance was off. He just wasn't in the fight. And tonight in Russia, Lebedev was the better fighter. Even though, we could say 8 or 9 years ago, it was a different fight. Of course, 8 or 9 years ago, it would have been a different fight. But if we turn around and we talk about 8 or 9 years ago, we're taken away from Lebedev's victory. And so 8 or 9 years ago, we all know, every boxing fan knows what would have happened 8 or 9 years ago. But it's Lebedev's night, and I think, and hopefully, I hope to see Lebedev fight Huck again. I would like to see that rematch. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, peeps, I'm out of here. That was The Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.